Today we're going to be making 6 of our favorite mason jar crafts.
We love crafting with mason jars.
All the way from hobnail to Seaglass jars. These are really awesome and are super fun to make.
Now let's get into the video.
Roll the intro. And I'm Caroline,
and together we make
lillyline. Before we start today's fun, let's talk about our featured verse.
It's found in 2 Kings 4, 1-7. The wife of a man from the company of the prophets cried out to Elijah. She said, "My husband is dead. You know how much respect he had for the Lord, but he owed money to someone. And now that person is coming to take my 2 boys away. They will be his slaves." Elisha replied to her, "How can I help you? Tell me, what do you have in your house?" "I don't have anything there at all," she said. "All I have is a little olive oil."
Elijah said, "Go down to all of your neighbors, ask them for empty jars. Get as many as you can. Then go inside your house, shut the door behind you and your sons, pour oil into all of the jars as each jar is filled. Put it over to one side."
The woman left him. After that, she shut the door behind her and her sons. They brought the jars to her, and she kept pouring. When all of the jars were full, she spoke to one of her sons. She said, "Bring me another jar." But he replied, "There aren't any more left." Then the oil stopped flowing.
She went and told the man of God about it. He said, "Go and sell the oil. Pay what you owe, and your sons can live on what is left." Just like God used the jars to provide for the woman's needs, we're using our jars for our crafts today.
God always provides a way for us, even if it's not how we think it should be. But we must always keep faith and keep being obedient to what the Lord has in store.
And now it's jar crafting time.
This is our Seaglass jar that has an ocean-like texture. It's one of my favorites.
This is one of those dollar store crafts, so we're not really sure if it's gonna work, but we're gonna give it a try.
For this recipe, you'll need 3 teaspoons of glue, 4.5 teaspoons of water, and however much food coloring you want.
Okay.
Oh, and of course, the jar.
Mix it all together and start painting your first coat.
Some recipes are kind of too good to be true, and that's what we think about this one.
We tried to add 1,000,000 coats to this one, but it still ended up being streaky. We liked it in the end. I tried to put it on thick, but it made a big mess.
Oh!
Now an even bigger mess.
Ew, gross!
Our favorite thing about these jars was the color.
I'm a mess. It looks like sea glass, which I've never found. Is that actually a thing? Next is our fabric jar, which is totally customizable. Ooh, this is a fun one. Hooray!
For this one, you're going to need 1-inch wide fabric strips cut to the height of your jar, some Mod Podge, a paintbrush, and the jar.
We're measuring the fabric around the jar to see how much we'll need.
No need to be stingy, put a little extra on there. Depending on your personality, you might want to measure out 1-inch strips exactly. Or just wing it.
I was actually using the squares on the table as a rough guide.
Well, aren't you just so resourceful? This part can get a bit messy, so prepare yourself.
Ew, boogers.
There's no fun if there's no mess. It doesn't matter how gloopy or gloppy it gets, you're gonna wipe it off in a second.
With my finger.
It took us a second to figure this out, so here's what we did. First, dip the fabric into the Mod Podge. Next, wipe some of it off with your fingers so it's not so wet.
It's like a blank canvas, ready for some life.
I don't even know what that means.
Put the fabric strip into the jar, then smooth out the edges with a paintbrush.
Here they are, the wet jars. But fear not, they will clear up.
Okay.
And now is our stained glass lantern. It's perfect for a nightlight.
And our next victim in the marathon of never-ending jar making is the tissue paper Mod Podge jar.
Or as we like to call it, the tish jar.
Not to be confused with the tip jar, but we'll accept that as well.
Yes!
You can use whatever color tissue paper you want. I was going for an ombre theme on this, but then I realized there was no white, so I had to use light pink instead.
That's okay, I use navy blue for dark purple.
So here we're coating the jar in Mod Podge, then we're putting tissue paper over that, and then we're putting Mod Podge back over the tissue paper for an extra sealant.
If you can't keep your crazy hair out of the video, you're fired. Have a nice day.
Aren't you adorable?
These turned out
Fabulous!
So this is our chalk paint jar.
This is our chalk paint jar.
This is our antique. This is our chalk paint base.
It's dinner time. BRB. Okay, we're back.
This is our chalk paint jar that we use for an antique flower vase.
To get started, we're going to need some chalk paint, some sandpaper, and a wax finish. And that thing we've been using, you know, the jar. I couldn't find a good pink color that I love, so I had to mix some red and white paint together to make pink. This paint went on really good and thick, and it dried quickly, so it was a win-win for both of us.
Who's the both of us?
Me and the jar, of course.
Ooh, I love the way these are turning out. I love the colors.
Now we're gonna pull out the rough guy to give it some rustic touch.
I wasn't sure how hard to push. I mean, I don't want to break it. I'm not sure what happened to my nail here, but my dad painted them.
Let's speed this up a little bit.
And if you're into all things sparkly and glittery, this one's the one for you. This is our glitterific sparkle jar.
Have you ever heard of a thing called a glitter tray? Me neither. Thanks, Aunt Christy.
Do you want to know how many combinations are possible with this next jar?
Yes!
You can glitterally do anything.
Our poor little paintbrushes are crying.
For the moment, the drill is going to be Mod Podge, glitter, some more Mod Podge,
Some more glitter.
and more Mod Podge.
And more glitter.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
As you can see, my heart wants this jar to be ombre, but it's just not gonna happen today. Good try, Lillian. Moment of silence for the ombre.
And here is our hobnail antique glass that reminds us of our grandma's soup.
Bingo!
Again with the hair? You're fired.
I love you. Bye-bye.
This experiment begins with hot glue in a jar. You can imagine how good that's going to go.
This definitely looks homemade. And not in a good way. But it gets worse. I mean, do we have to get rid of those strings or can we just paint over them? We're giving it our best shot, but some things just weren't meant to be.
Uh-oh.
This is a hobnail fail.
To wrap it all up, we're going to add our finishing touches. For this jar, we thought it reminded us of the ocean, and it looks a little bit like Seaglass. So we're going to put our shell collection in these jars.
We got these shells fresh from the ocean and they're all so pretty.
We love collecting shells. It's one of our favorite things to do at the beach.
We had to do a lot of coats on this jar because it was kind of see-through, but it ended up looking pretty in the end.
I love the Seaglass texture.
This would be good for any kind of shells or anything like rocks or flowers. The next jar is this chalk paint jar, and we really like this one because of the colors and it's rustic. Some of the spots with the paint didn't go on as thickly, but it ended up looking good because we sanded it in the end.
This string is just going to add an extra flair that I love. And then we're going to fill these jars with some flowers because they remind us of vases.
Ooh la la.
We really like these jars because they look super antique and old, and they go really well with our decor.
I like the pop of color on this one. It turned out a little darker than I thought, but I really liked it in the end. These fabric jars are still wet on the inside, but once they dry, they'll be super cute and they'll look like this one. Because we put the fabric on the inside, the gloss on the outside will still show. That's what I like about this jar. It's still glossy, even though it's fabric.
You can put any kind of craft supplies or collections in these jars. They're super easy and portable, and you can store them anywhere. This next one is really glittery and is super cute.
Wait, we said super a lot in this video.
Super cute, super antique.
Super easy.
It's perfect to store any pins, pencils, markers, or any kind of craft supplies, just like the other ones.
I tried to make mine ombre, but it kind of just turned out like a mess. I still like the colors though. It reminds me of cotton candy.
You can also use a spray finish like this one to keep the glitter from coming off.
This little guy is so cute, yet so easy to make. It looks great as a lantern or storing any of your little trinkets. What I'm going to be putting in here is some of my loves that me and my Dada collect. It reminds me of her every time I see one. These things are from milk cartons.
These turned out super cute.
No.
We had so much fun today, and these turned out super cute. We loved sharing our ideas with you.
We don't recommend doing this all in one day because after all it took
5,400, 600,000, million, thousand hours.
Hours.
Your own style, that's just slang for you, ain't got it though. Talking like you got it, that's a problem, I might let them know. Squeeze you like I'm Elsa, so my let it go. Eeny, meeny,
Make sure to like and subscribe.
And tag us on Instagram when you try these at home.
Alright, let's just
See you next time.
We hope you enjoyed watching this video.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye!